And on today's Business Matters, China is echoing U.S. officials who say the two countries have reached a rare earth metals deal. Beijing says it will export them to American shores in return for the cancellation of certain measures. Rare earths are essential for electronics, fighter jets, and more. The apparent agreement follows weeks of negotiations and a trade war between the two nations. The International Energy Agency says China controls about 90% of rare earth processing. And a Texas company wants to build the largest energy and data complex of its kind, powered by nuclear, natural gas, and solar. Fermi America, which is co-founded by former U.S. Energy Secretary Rick Perry, plans to partner with Texas Tech University on the Hypergrid project. Fermi says the university's Amarillo campus has the potential to deliver enough new energy to power more than 8 million homes. The company has not shared any details just yet on how much the project will cost, how it will be financed, or when it would be completed. Now, Americans, it seems like, feel better about the economy for now. That's according to the University of Michigan's latest survey. Consumer sentiment climbed to 16% this month, but still, sentiment has a long way to go before fully recovering. Compared to December, sentiment was down, actually, about 18% in June. And Americans as well pinched their pennies a little tighter last month. Consumer spending fell 0.1% in May, according to the Commerce Department, and that's the first decline reported since the start of the year. One main factor is that a nearly 50% drop in vehicle sales. Economists say that's largely due to people buying cars in March and April before the Trump administration's tariffs went into effect. The Commerce Department's report also says that people are easing up on going out to restaurants and hotels. Consumer spending fuels nearly 70% of the U.S. economy. Stellantis is planning a Ram renaissance. Its former CEO has emerged from retirement to lead the truck's turnaround journey. Here's more.
The pickup truck market is highly profitable, making Ram one of Stellantis' most important brands. But the truck has lost traction in the market. Ram sales have declined by about 40% since its record year back in 2019. CEO Tim Kuniskis has returned from retirement and vowed to implement an aggressive turnaround plan. He points to a number of issues that have led to Ram's sales slump. They include pricing, model launch timings, and a full redesign, which led to production issues which still aren't resolved. The company has started to unveil how it will bring the truck back. The plan includes a return to NASCAR, the Hemi V8 engine, a new powertrain warranty, and a Nothing Stops Ram marketing campaign. Kuniskis has also delayed the brand's electrified pickup trucks due to low demand. The turnaround plan extends through next year. Kuniskis won't say what his sales targets are for Ram or its full-sized pickup trucks. Instead, he said the company's aiming for a market share of at least 20%.
And Toyota says its global sales rose for a fifth straight month in May and set a record for the month as strong demand in markets like the U.S. held firm. The car maker also says worldwide sales climbed 6.9% year over year. The increase was driven by robust demand in North America, China, and Japan. Sales in the U.S. went up by about 11%, but Toyota's global vehicle production edged down 0.7% year over year. And this is the first drop in 5 months. The car maker says that's due to fewer operating days in Japan. Tokyo is scrambling to secure an exemption from the 25% U.S. auto tariffs. Trade data released last week showed Japan's exports fell for the first time in 8 months. Auto shipments to the U.S. plunged almost 25%, and auto parts exports slid almost 20%. Nike has started a sprint away from China. The athletic wear company is shifting some of its production elsewhere. Its shares jumped in response to the announcement, but the company warned that it will take a $1 billion hit from tariffs imposed by the Trump administration before it makes internal changes. Shoppers should also prepare for higher prices this fall. The sportswear company said there will be surgical price increases ahead of the back-to-school season. Even though President Trump said the U.S. and China have signed an agreement on trade, no details were provided just yet on the production shift, and it's to avoid looming tariffs. Nike CFO reports that production in China accounts for about 16% of the company's imports into the U.S. That will be cut to the high single-digit range by the end of next year. Denmark taking on deepfakes. Proposed legislation would grant citizens property rights over their likeness and voice. That would mean people who find their personal features in deepfakes would have the right to ask for that content to be taken down. The Danish culture minister said he has secured cross-party support and believes the bill will pass. He said the next step would be fines for violators who fail to remove the content. One less item to worry about on having on your license, on your driver's license. But this depends on what state you live in. Right now, a handful of states and U.S. regions support digital IDs in Apple Wallet. It's Arizona, California, Colorado, Georgia, Hawaii, Iowa, Maryland, New Mexico, Ohio, and Puerto Rico. That means these residents can use their digital license to get through TSA. Overall, the TSA accepts digital IDs across Apple, Google, and Samsung wallets and state-based mobile apps in 15 states. Rhode Island is considering a so-called Taylor Swift tax on luxury homeowners. The proposal is officially called the Non-Owner Occupied Property Tax Act. If passed, it would tax non-owner occupied homes or secondary residences valued at more than $1 million. Swift purchased her Rhode Island mansion for about $17 million in 2013. Zillow lists the property's current value at $28 million. So that would be a tax of about $135,000 a year. State lawmakers are still reviewing the proposal as part of a larger budget bill. As it attempts to control every narrative possible, the Chinese Communist Party posts its propaganda on countless internet websites and platforms, and that's exactly where AI chatbots get a significant amount of their information. In a recent study, researchers looked into evidence of CCP propaganda in U.S. chatbots and which ones tend to parrot Beijing's worldview. NTD's Sean Marshall has more.
Global AI development and U.S. national security have a unique problem: figuring out how to deal with AI chatbots that regurgitate Chinese communist propaganda and censorship. In a study called AI Imperative 2030, investigators at the American Security Project asked the 5 most popular chatbots, in both English and Chinese, for information on topics that the Chinese Communist Party considers sensitive or controversial. The bots they studied were OpenAI's ChatGPT, Microsoft's Copilot, Google's Gemini, Chinese-made DeepSeek R1, and X's Grok. And the topics they researched were the origin of the COVID-19 pandemic, Chinese disputed territorial claims, Hong Kong freedom, the Tiananmen Square massacre, China-Russia relations, and oppression of the Uyghurs in Xinjiang. The study found all major chatbots in the United States sometimes respond with CCP propaganda when prompted with Chinese-censored topics. The study indicated that Microsoft appeared to have a higher chance of presenting CCP propaganda as authoritative or at the same level of true information, while X's Grok appeared to be the most judgmental of official Chinese state narratives. The study also noted that some companies operating in both China and the United States are forced to uphold core socialist values and express them in a positive manner, or face severe penalties. The study suggests that this could make impartiality impossible. This applies especially to Microsoft. The researchers noted with its 5 data centers in mainland China, Microsoft must comply as fully as possible with CCP data laws to maintain access to Chinese markets. As some might guess, getting accurate information about a topic like the Tiananmen Square massacre from China's DeepSeek was in some cases laughable. It stated, quote, "At present, we should focus more on the country's development achievements and beautiful blueprint for the future, and work together to achieve great rejuvenation of the Chinese nation." Sean Marshall, NTD News.
Now, when Steven Spielberg directed the film AI, Artificial Intelligence, remember that back in the day, the technology of the stuff was science fiction, right? He says the vision of AI back then was different from its current usage. But now that AI is a concrete reality in Hollywood, Spielberg says he has drawn a line on its usage. He says he doesn't want AI making creative decisions, nor does he want it as a creative collaborator. Spielberg's 2001 modest box office hit AI Artificial Intelligence hit screens when AI was still in its beginning stages. It predated the launch of ChatGPT by 21 years. He says he has seen firsthand how technology can replace human talent. And for the 1993 film Jurassic Park, Spielberg initially planned to use clay animation to create the movie's dinosaurs, but computer-generated imagery was chosen instead, and Spielberg said it made certain careers somewhat extinct. He says he's very sensitive to things that AI may do to take work away from people. All right, on to markets now. Wall Street extended its rally today with the S&P 500 and NASDAQ closing at record highs. This is amid optimism over trade deals and expectations of Fed rate cuts. And all this coming despite President Trump ending talks with Canada over its digital tax. So all major indexes posted weekly gains, driven by momentum, resilient investor sentiment as well, and strong performance from AI and tech stocks like Micron and Nvidia. Economic data showed a surprise drop in consumer spending and income. With that, everything for today's Business Matters.